Okay, so I have officially written out the majority of my plot points. I won't really know if I have them all down until I put them up, because I'm just going to start placing them on the wall here. These are my 3 POV characters, and I think I'm just going to start placing them in chronological order and kind of have a first act, second act, third act. We'll just see if that works. I'm just grabbing a handful of them and figuring out which stage they're going in from there. Okay, here we go. So now that I have all of these actually on the wall, I'm going to put them in chronological order, or at least what I right now consider chronological order, and then assess from there. I am so annoyed with myself for being so typical. Look at this. My first act is decently filled, fairly equal amount of colors, lots of back and forth. I mean, this is basically all just one big conflict, but it's very detailed and drawn out. And then look at my act 2. This is all I have. And granted, this guy in yellow, I just write down the basics, but that sticky note alone could fill up this entire act. I just don't have any more details beyond that one general thing that that character is going to go through. And then my third act also is like, I have a decent idea of what my third act is going to be, but I don't really have a decent idea of how I'm going to get from act 2 to act 3. Got out an old handy dandy notebook and I started writing down just random things where I'm like, oh, how does this happen? This person, this organization need a name. Here are some conflicts to keep in mind while writing. And then, I don't know, I guess this week I just need to expand upon this list and put up more sticky notes as time goes on. So hopefully by the end of the week, and God, hopefully by the end of the month, this wall will just be covered in sticky notes, and it will be very detailed and very organized. And when NaNoWriMo comes around, it will be such a breeze, because that's how it works, right guys? Hey everyone, I'm back in the filming room, and I wanted to go over this whole NaNoWriMo scheduling idea. So I have my handy dandy planner. Much like how I aspire to be a planner of books, I want to be a planner with my life. And I have gone through and tried so many different planners, and I could never find one that I could stick to. And granted, I've had this one less than 2 weeks, but I've been very consistent about filling it out, because this one, and it's crazy how this can make such a difference to someone, but this one has little boxes. You can see that. It has little boxes on the side that you can check mark off, and that act alone switched something in my brain, and now I absolutely love this planner. And so hopefully that means that I'll stick to it. So this is what I'm going to start thinking about. Okay, what do my word counts need to be throughout the month of NaNoWriMo? And hopefully I will religiously stick to that, because like I said in a previous video, my November, everyone's November is probably a little crazy, but my birthday and my family's birthdays are all in November. And I am taking a trip back to Iowa for 5 days to see them. So I need to really think about the days that I will be available, the days I will definitely not be available, now that I've narrowed down exactly when I'm going to be going back to Iowa and for how long. Okay, so currently I'm trying to figure out the NaNoWriMo word count, because I've completely forgotten what that's supposed to be. I know you're supposed to hit 50,000 words, but like, what does that mean? It means 1,667 words. That's what it means. Okay. We can do this. So I know the days that I will be driving to Des Moines and then back to Columbus. So those days I'm just going to assume that I'm completely indisposed. My birthday is the 4th. And it's a Monday. I'm not really expecting to do anything crazy on my birthday itself. So I think I'm still gonna plan to hit that writing goal. It's more the weekend before my birthday. Specifically that Saturday that I'm like, The thing is though, because it's a weekend, I could just force myself to get up early and right before doing anything fun that I might be doing on that day. So I'm just nervous because I'm like, oh yeah, I'll just write on my birthday and then not hold myself to it, hold myself accountable. So it's like, do I give myself a leeway just in case, or do I keep the word count what it's supposed to be, the 1,667 words, and kind of force myself to write to that? Okay, well, I need to think about this for a little bit, so I will get back to you guys once I have a more solid calendar figured out. I have to do some math right now, and I do not know if I'm doing this correctly. Okay, so 1,667 words times 2, all right. And then let's say it's distribute that over 5 days. That's an extra 600. Okay, times 2 divided by, okay, that's a little better. Okay, so I am trying to be pretty harsh on myself. I don't want to use something like a birthday as an excuse to not get in my word counts, because it's not like I'm going to be celebrating my birthday the entire day. And I'm really just going to hold myself to that, because that's way easier than trying to plan around that, because I'm already trying to plan around the 2 days that I'm going to be just straight up traveling. When you drive for 10 hours, you're pretty brain dead afterwards, and that's like 10 hours of your waking time gone. So I'm not even gonna pretend that I can get anything done out of that. I'm trying to figure out how I can distribute that, and the easiest way is if I write an extra 290 words per day leading up to my first travel day on the 13th, then I should be okay, and I should still be on track, and I won't have to do anything crazy. I remember the one time that I kind of sort of tried to participate in NaNoWriMo, I would write like 400 words one day and then be like, oh shoot, I need to like write 3,000 words today because I need to compensate for being a piece of shit yesterday. And I don't want to do that again, because then it just spiraled into me not being able to hit this word count. So rather than the 1,600, until the 13th, I'm going to have to write roughly 2,000 words to stay on track. That's a lot, but that's what I'm going to have to do if I'm going to win this year, and I want to win. So just to kind of show how I use this planner and why I like it so much, so I put down over here just near these little to-do check boxes, things that I need to do for the day. Take an Instagram photo, work on my reading vlog, edit my current book Summer of Scars, which is what I did before filming with you guys. So I can cross that out, cross this one out. Outline, which is what I'm about to do, and edit. I edit. If I didn't do something like yesterday, yesterday I was super social, which is good. That's also something that I find that I do need to kind of schedule that in and prioritize. But because I did all that, I didn't do a single one of these things yesterday, so I circle them as kind of a reminder to make sure to throw those things over to the next day. That's how I use this planner, and I found it to be extremely effective thus far.
So I definitely see the merit of that kind of planning, of that kind of drafting by hand. And I think I'm going to continue throughout this month. I kind of drafted it from a distant third person perspective. If I could think of any dialogue that I wanted to go with, I threw it in there, but it was kind of like, they did this, they did that. Kind of left it vague if I couldn't think of any details in the moment. And I got 2.5 pages worth of writing and covered 2.5 chapters, basically. I can definitely see how this would speed up my initial drafting process. That being said, I want to look into other methods that kind of deal more with the big picture, because as I'm writing this out, because I'm dealing with an epic fantasy, I'm like, wow, there are a lot of characters and a lot of plot points that I want to make sure I'm hitting. So I'm going to look more into that J.K. Rowling plotting, because she deals with a lot of big picture stuff, and I've seen something online about, like, she has these like really intense, very elaborate charts. So I'm going to look into that, and then hopefully maybe write one out tomorrow. So I'll see you guys then.
Hello everyone. So for my last Preptober update for the second week of October, I kind of talked about this in my last clip, but I did want to look into more of the J.K. Rowling plot map, I guess you can call it. Let me show you. She has this really crazy, seemingly complicated way of plotting out her chapters. And I finally found a link, and I'll definitely throw that down in the description below, that actually goes into, because I can't read her handwriting, so I kept finding the picture, but just kind of being like, I don't know what I'm actually looking at. I just know this is how she plotted out Harry Potter. But this actually goes into, what do all these different columns mean? It's something that I want to experiment with. So if you give me a moment to read through it, the first column says number for the specific chapter number, time for the month of the school year the chapter is set in, title, chapter title, plot, the outline of the chapter's plot. But then for the next, 6 columns or something, we have prophecy, and then very specific subplots. So like the romantic subplot, the Resistance Army, Order of the Phoenix, Snape and Harry, things like that. But I like the idea of breaking it up into kind of like what's happening chapter by chapter, but are we hitting all these different subplots? Because that is something that my second book anyway definitely deals with and has, and I'm kind of like mildly overwhelmed. I was doing that whole, as I'm sure you saw that last clip, actually writing out the chapters, and although that was effective, I found myself going like, am I hitting everything that I need to hit? Because as of right now, it's just a brain dump. So I am going to actually draw this out, at least for my first, gosh, I don't know. Yeah, for my first 5 chapters or so, maybe more than that. Okay, so I did the first 9 chapters. Some things that I realized. The title of the chapters does not matter yet, because I have no idea. It's one of those things where like I will figure that out like near the very, very end, but not during the plotting stage. That does not really matter to me right now. And instead, I realized that I should have switched that out for who the POV character is. So I think it would have been helpful if I put in here, and I probably will go back and add that. I also kind of started to realize that while the plotting stuff was kind of useful, these subplots, I think it's trickier when it's from these 3 different perspectives, because we're in different locations and they're going through different things. What's the difference between a subplot and just this character's plot? if that makes sense. There was a few like prophecy like things. Take a step back, look at the big picture, and be like, okay, where can I add like little hints of it? Where can I kind of squeeze in that something more is going on here, or a reminder to the audience? Am I gonna continue? I don't know. This was helpful. I did enjoy this, and I'm actually in the mood to go kind of write about these chapters that I just plotted down more and write them by hand like I did the other day in the previous clips. So I think that's what I'm gonna go do for the rest of my writing day. That's what I'm mostly finding, is that doing all these things, the post-it notes, the plot embryo, writing it out by hand, doing this kind of big J.K. Rowling plot board, it doesn't hurt. Anyways, thank you so much guys for hanging out with me and this crazy Preptober adventure. Make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more Preptober related content in the future, and NaNoWriMo content. I'm really excited. It feels crazy that we're getting closer and closer, and I definitely feel the pressure of like, oh, I don't want to just be doing fun like character worksheets anymore. I'm like, I actually need to start getting some serious ground if I want to make NaNoWriMo easier on myself. So comment down below if you're kind of feeling the same pressure right now. I'm also trying to put up more videos, ideally at least 3 a week. So it would mean a lot to me if you did, in fact, subscribe. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. Bye.